Today on Brilliance Business TV, we have Sandee Sgarlata. Sandee is a two-time award-winning author, certified life coach since 2004, public speaker, retired US national and international figure skating coach, and has spent the past 20 years helping people create lasting happiness in their lives. Stay tuned. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have a wonderful guest today with a really colourful story, Sandee Sgarlata. Sandee has so many things in common with me. I'm really looking forward to a conversation with her. And let me ask you a question. Is there a key to happiness? I think there could be. So we're in for an interesting conversation today. I just want to make an official shout out to our show sponsors, Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. We are streaming live on MSPnewsGlobal.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're also streaming through the E360 TV network under Fresh Takes, going out to Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, Roku TV, and many, many more. And we're also on Business Innovators Radio Network. So let's bring in our incredible guest, Sandee Sgarlata. Sandee, welcome to Brilliance Business TV.
Mark, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so grateful to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Sandee. I know everything that you do revolves around overcoming stress, really finding our happiness, which I really do want to delve deep into that. But I would just like to go back a little bit, because I know you have had your ups and downs, and just share a little bit about your background and past that has led you into the work that you're doing today.
Yes, of course. So, life started out a little rough for me. My biological father died when I was 18 months old, and apparently he was very, very, very abusive to my mother and my three siblings. And that led us, after his death, we moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where my mom then met the man who would raise me for 47 years of my life. They got married when I was 3, and he was a real strict Catholic. He was an Irish Catholic, very, very, very strict. And it was kind of a tumultuous time in many ways because of the whole family dynamic. When I was 12 years old, my older brother died. He was serving in the US Army in Germany. And that, like, my whole world just came crashing down. My poor mother went into a depression for 10 years. And so I kind of had to raise myself from that point on. And in my early 20s, life was going really well. My early 20s, I had a weak moment, and cocaine was put in front of me. That was in the late 80s. And not that that's an excuse, but I was in the Washington, D.C. area, and that was just a huge thing. It was something that everybody did. And even though I had sworn to myself I would never use drugs, I had that weak moment. And 4 years later, I hit rock bottom with cocaine addiction. And that was the real turning point for me. And that was over 30 years ago. It was in 1990. And ever since that time, I have just become this massive self-help junkie, and I'm obsessed with self-improvement, and I'm constantly learning and reading, and because we can learn from anybody. right? And so I'm all about just improving myself so that I can in turn help other people. It's just been a mission that I have been on for 30 years now. And I just want to help other people because life is so short and it's so precious. And yeah, there was a time, I mean, I would go to sleep like 5 a.m. every day, right? Heart pounding. And I would, being raised Catholic, I would ask for forgiveness of my sins because I didn't think I was going to wake up in the morning, and I didn't want to wake up. And I would wake up every day with this sense of dread. Oh, here we go. I've got to do it again, another day. And so, life is too short for that. So I want to help people overcome that and live the life that we're meant to live.
Thank you so much for sharing that story and your vulnerabilities. We have drug use in common, and I know exactly how cocaine feels. I've ended up waking up on a morning going drug dealers, £500 for the cocaine I've used the night before, going to bed paranoid with the heart going. But our past never has to define us, Sandee. And like you, I found the world of personal development and self-improvement, which is an ongoing journey, which I am still doing today. I love personal development, and it's so important we look after our minds and what we put into our minds as well. And I love that you're helping people. Tell us what prompted you to write a book on happiness, because I know you have the book Happiness Solved.
Yes. My book Happiness Solved actually started as a project. I never went to college right out of high school. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to go into the Ice Capades, and 2 weeks after my high school graduation, I get a letter in 1983 saying, "Congratulations, you're on a waiting list." So then I was like, what am I going to do now? So I never went to college. Fast forward, I went back to college in 2014 and had a business class, and there was a project I needed to do. And so I was, going to form this company with coaches and this and that. And that's when I started writing the book. I didn't realize it at the time that it was going to be a book. I put it aside. Fast forward to 2019, I was taking my son to college and dropped him off. And all of a sudden the floodgates opened up. And I just started, and that's how I tend to write. This is actually the 3rd book that I finished. And I just tend to write. It's not really a stream of consciousness. It's more of like, it's just the floodgates open up and I just, and I can't stop writing about it. And it really just got to a point where I just became so disgusted with human nature and how what the world is becoming. And this was in August of 2019. And I wrote, we have to change, because if we don't change, this negativity that's going on in the world is going to spread like a virus. I said that in August of 2019. And I finished it in January of 2020. And it just became everything that I write about in my book is how I live my life every single day. And is there a formula for happiness, a key to happiness? It is. It's a practice, though. It's something we'll never master.
I agree. And what a great time to launch the book. I'm guessing this was just the perfect time to launch it at the beginning of the pandemic, because we all needed something to plug into to really get us through some of those dark moments. Tell us what climbing 100 steps means.
So I mentioned before when I was 12 years old that my brother died. So my mother and father went away for a second honeymoon. They renewed their vows. And I was staying at a friend's house, and we both had homes on the Severn River, which is outside of Annapolis, Maryland. And I was called home early, and it was quicker to bring me home by boat. So my friend and her older brother, we hop in their boat, go down the Severn River. It was only a few minutes. And I wasn't really worried about why I was called home early. I kind of thought that my grandfather probably had passed away. He was in and out of the hospital, and we were kind of preparing for that. So I wasn't that concerned. Not to say that I wouldn't be upset if that happened. It was just in the moment and being 12 and carefree, and we're on the boat. And so there was 100 steps that went from the river dock up to our house. And so that day, me and my girlfriend were climbing the 100 steps. And it was kind of like, when Rocky, in the movie Rocky, and he's climbing those stairs and you hear that music, da, da, da. So it was kind of like that every time I climbed the 100 steps. And when I got to the top, the news was broken to me and my whole world came crashing down. So my whole life, it's kind of a metaphor. My whole life has been about trying to get back to that place of how I felt when I was climbing the 100 steps.
That's really beautiful, Sandee. I love it. And it's a great metaphor as well, taking a step at a time to reach the end destination, which I love as well. Could you just share a few steps we could all incorporate into our lives to bring us more peace and happiness, no matter what curveballs are thrown at us?
Yeah, so really the first step, and this is very, very important, is when something happens in your life, whether it's somebody cutting you off in traffic, your partner breaks up with you, God forbid, something more tragic, you have to sit in the feelings. You have to feel the pain. That is so important because for me, I never felt the grief of my brother dying. And I shoved it aside for 10 years until I finally hit rock bottom. So you have to sit in the pain and feel it, walk through it. You can't, sometimes we try to go around it, we go over it, we go under it. You have to go through the pain and feel it. So once you are feeling that pain and you've acknowledged it, the next step, and this is also, all of these are important, is forgiveness.
Oh, yes.
Forgiveness is so important. Forgive the other person that may have wronged you. Forgive yourself.
Yes.
Right. And then before, it's always like acceptance and gratitude. They kind of go hand in hand. I feel like you can't accept things until you have forgiven them. Sometimes, because there's really no defining order for these, but the quickest way to shift your mindset is through gratitude.
Oh, I agree totally.
Yeah. So focusing on, and I use that when you're having a stressful moment or, life just feels overwhelming. That is when gratitude is so important because it's the quickest way to just shift your energy from down here to up here.
There's always something to be grateful for.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yes, and forgiveness as well. It can be hard at times, but you're only hurting yourself if you don't forgive, because it's like drinking poison. If you're not forgiving, you're only affecting yourself. So I really like those tips you shared. Going off topic a tiny bit, Sandee, figure skating, tell us about that, because when I was 9 to the age of 15, I used to do dancing. So not figure skating, but I used to do dancing right up until my 16th birthday. I got to championship level. And I really feel like that gave me skills, what I use even today, like persistence, never giving up. Like, because I used to go to competitions, I didn't always win the competitions, but I would carry on going, competing. And I really feel like that gave me some great life skills, even today, being really, really resilient. Tell us a little bit about your career in ice skating.
So as a competitive figure skater, I was very good. I just never really made it out of my region. The odds were against me back then. Back in the 70s and 80s, figure skating involved doing figure eights. It was a huge portion of it. And you're just going around the circle. So I was a little ADD. So to put in, a 12-year-old on the ice for an hour, making them go around in circles was like disastrous, right? So that was the big thing that kept me back. Of course, now those have been eliminated. When I was 16 years old, my father changed jobs. We moved to a part of Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, and the closest ice rink was 45 minutes away. So I had to stop competing at that time because I couldn't get to the ice rink to train in order to keep up with the competition. So fast forward, into, what was it, 1993, an ice rink opened up in the town that I lived in, Virginia. And I became one of the first coaches on staff there. And I thought that I was just going to teach little boys and girls group lessons and just share my love of the sport. Turns out in 94, if you remember the big drama here right before the Olympics when Tanya Harding tried to take out Nancy Kerrigan.
Yes, I remember.
Yes, as terrible as that was, all of a sudden I had 50 little girls that wanted to be figure skaters. So it propelled the world of figure skating back into the limelight. So I started, teaching competitive figure skating, which I never thought I would ever do. And again, against all odds, I didn't have any impressive medals or titles under my belt. Many coaches shunned me and looked down on me. Who are you to be doing this? You never made it anywhere in the figure skating world. But you and I both know to be a good coach, you don't have to have won the Olympics. Right?
100%.
So yeah, I actually was teaching a group lesson one day on a public session, and I see this little boy in rental skates, and he's doing an axel. Now, anybody that knows anything about figure skating, an axel's pretty complicated to do, let alone in figure skates. And I went over to him. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, my parents don't really want me to do this, but I just love it." And so I talked to his mom, and she was like, "I'm not going to buy him skates." I had an old pair of skates that were really good, but weren't any good for me anymore. I painted them black, and I let him use these skates. And I started working with them. About 4 or 5 years later, I forget the exact timing, I took him to U.S. Nationals. He qualified for an international competition. I watched him win his first gold medal at an international competition. And as the sport is, it's a little toxic. I don't know how it is today because I've been away from it for a number of years. It was very toxic. I ended up stepping down while I was on top. He was about ready to go to college. He ended up becoming a pair skater and was an alternate for the Olympics in pair skating. And he and I still keep in touch today, thanks to social media. And he was just the joy of my coaching. I did end up assisting. She wasn't a student of mine, but I coached another student in an international competition in Taiwan. And that was a really great experience as well. So it was kind of check the box for me. One of the things that I did, I never imagined that I would become a U.S. national and international figure skating coach. And like you say, there's so many skills that you learn because mindset is the most important part about any athletic program. And I am starting to work with athletes on their mental toughness as well.
What a lovely story, Sandee. Sandee, we're just going to a commercial break, so please stay where you are. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for part 1 of Brilliance Business TV. Today, we're in conversation with Sandee Sgarlata, the award-winning author of Happiness Unsolved. Stay with us, won't be too long.
Hello everybody, Cyberchuck 2.0 here. I'm so excited to be able to share my vision of Dreamweavers Artist Ranch. They say you can't choose your family. Not only am I saying you can choose your family, you get to thrive with your family here at Dreamweavers Artist Ranch. It's a place for like-minded individuals to come together to share experiences and gain experiences, not only through workshops, through performances, and through exhibits. This is a place where you can disconnect from the outside world and reconnect into a community of people that there is no judgment. There's only support. And this place is an amazing place to grow and to tap into your highest potential and to be able to show off all your talents. This is a place you can come and network and really thrive. I'm so excited for Dreamweavers Artist Ranch. This is a place where dreams actually come true. I love you all so very much. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.
Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Today we're in conversation with Sandee Sgarlata, and today our conversation is all about happiness. Sandee, Now, in February 2020, Forbes put out an article by Mark Murphy. 80% of New Year's resolutions get abandoned. And I know people sign up for the gym, and then in January, by the end of the month, they're no longer in their gym memberships. Why are the numbers so high, Sandee?
Yeah, it's really staggering. I mean, really, there's three reasons. One, sometimes people set goals that they feel they should do based on society or what their peer groups are doing, you know, because we're so influenced by our peers. So people think, well, I should go to the gym and I should be working out, but that's not really what they want. Sometimes their resolutions are too vague. They're too vague. And then the third reason is they don't have a good plan. They don't really have a plan on how they're going to accomplish this. So that's really the big reasons why people fail.
And do you have any tips of how we can make that better and we stop abandoning our New Year's resolutions?
Yes. Well, again, a plan. Have a detailed plan. You can use the acronym SMART that we all have heard about. What is it? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. Because if you have a goal of losing weight, you need to have a plan around that. A plan. So what are you going to do if you have a setback, and what are you going to do to get back on track? So a detailed plan is always, always important. Another tip is there's apps out there that you can use to download on your phone. There's the one that I use is called Way of Life, but all you really need to do is set a timer on your phone to remind you to take action every single day, because that's really the big thing. And the last tip that I'll share, which I think is pretty important, is be gentle with yourself if you have a setback. Okay?
Yes, good
This
one.
goes back to mindset. It all comes back to mindset. So you have a setback. Many times people will criticize themselves. So instead of criticizing yourself, talk to yourself as if you are speaking to a child that is upset, right? If you have a child that's upset, you're going to be compassionate with them. You're going to be gentle with them. Treat yourself the same way.
Self-talk, very, very important.
And then just take action. Take action.
Yes, nothing happens without action, Sandee. Now, I know the last couple of years there is a lot of stress in the world. People have gone out of business. People have even set up new businesses and thrived. But I do think it has been a stressful period for many, many people. And I know the American Psychological Association also have a lot to say about stress. Share a little bit about that, Sandee.
Yeah, so the American Psychological Association they do reports constantly. The big thing is the numbers are staggering as to how many people are actually living with high amounts of stress. Now, WebMD actually came out with a report, and I found this to be really fascinating. 75 to 90% of all doctor's office visits are for stress-related ailments or complaints. I mean, that is really staggering when you think about it. That our stress is causing people to be sick constantly.
And do you have some words of wisdom, any tips to help us overcome our stresses?
Well, exercise is the best thing you can do because it raises your endorphins and it's going to calm you down. So number one is exercise. Deep breathing. If you're really stressed, and this also helps with anxiety, take 10 slow, deep breaths in through your nose, and you hold it, and then you exhale out. And if you do that really after 3 or 4 times, but try to do it 10 times because then it really calms you down. Another interesting tip that a lot of people don't realize, why do people flock to the beach and you take your shoes off and you walk on the beach, right? Obviously, if the sun's shining, there's a breeze, you hear the ocean. But what's really happening is your bare feet are touching the ground. So there's a tool called grounding or earthing.
I've seen a program on that, Sandee.
Yeah. So you just walk in the grass in your bare feet. You don't have to go to the beach. Just walk outside on the grass.
It's wet here in England, though,
Yeah,
Sandee.
yeah, and it's a little cold. I know.
But
But yeah.
all the tips that you're sharing, Sandee, we're on such of the same page with everything, like gratitude. I'm really big on gratitude. I exercise now 4 times a week. I never used to, but I do now. Also, diet's important as well, the foods that you put in to your body as well, and forgiveness, all of these things, just doing them daily, they really do help you to create a whole new reality. I've used it all in my life and completely changed my outer reality. Do you agree with me there?
Oh, those are the things I do every single day. I mean, I start my day with gratitude. And if you can
Yes.
start your day with gratitude. Now, I used to be really good about writing it down. Some days I do that. Other days I just think about it. But, there's days when you wake up when you know how busy your day is. And you don't want to start your day that way, right? Because you're going to instantly start going into this frame of mind that's not healthy. So instead of thinking about everything you have to do today, just start in gratitude and focus on your gratitude, because then everything that you have to do is going to be a joy to do, right?
I do it just before I fall asleep. I go through my mind of every single thing I'm grateful for that day, the air that I breathe, the car, my
Yes.
family, the food that I've eaten through the day, every little thing I do go through my mind. And then I go into a little visualization and of all the things I want to create. And I wake up and I do a guided meditation with my headphones in. But these little routines, they help you to think better and act better and show up better and control the day a lot better. So, Sandee, we have really got so much value from you today. Can you just share how you support your clients and the work that you do with your clients, please?
Yes, absolutely. So I offer group coaching programs, and of course I do one-on-one coaching as well, but I have an online course that takes you through all of the steps. Because first you want to identify what's causing you to be unhappy. What are the things that are causing you to be unhappy? And I have, dozens of videotapes that people can log on to the online course and watch the program. I have exercises. I have group coaching sessions where we dive into mindset, kind of like topics that we're talking about today, but really deep. And then, of course, I offer one-on-one coaching for people that need a little bit of extra hand holding and want a little bit more in terms of support and whatnot. But what I also do, as you were talking about, you're doing your visualizations, I help people, because once you get your mindset back on track and it becomes a daily routine for you, there's a whole world out there. I am a master in manifesting. And
Me too.
yes. And I keep saying action, 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 because in the law of attraction, the word action is in there. So I
Yes.
help people create the life that they've always imagined.
I love it. And I just love everything to do with personal development and self-improvement and the law of attraction. I am a huge, I wouldn't just say a believer in it. I know it works, to the point the other day, I recently had a billboard for my business in Times Square in New York.
I saw
And
that. Yeah.
I draw my reality I want to create, because it sets off the creative part of your mind. So I will draw it. And I looked on there the other day and I had actually got billboard drawn on my, and I was like, there you go, that I've manifested that. I've drawn it months in advance, even years in advance, and then I've brought it into my reality. So I'm really big fan of everything law of attraction. But you mentioned when you make it part of your daily routines, it should never be a task. It should be fun and it should be a ritual, just like brushing your teeth. But when you enjoy it, it's so becomes part of your routine. It does just become like a habit, like brushing your teeth. Would you agree with me there, Sandee?
100%, because we have a choice as to how we're going to perceive every situation we're in. So even if you're in a job, you may not really love what you're doing, you can shift your perception and the way you're perceiving it and find joy in it. And it all goes back to, feeling that gratitude. Get your mindset in check with your gratitude. And you have a choice as to how you're going to look at every situation. The glass is half empty or half full, right? But every situation, there's another way that you can look at it.
I agree totally. I would encourage everyone out there who is really connected with Sandee today to schedule a free 15-minute consultation. Go to sandeesgarlata.com. That's sandeesgarlata.com, sandeesgarlata.com. And Sandee's even offering a free copy of her book, Happiness Solved, which is an award-winning book. To get your free copy, just email Sandee at sandeesgarlata.com. That's Sandee at sandeesgarlata.com. So a couple more questions before we finish the show today, Sandee. What is the best advice you have ever heard?
Well, I have heard so much amazing advice in my 30 plus years I've been on this journey of mine. I recently heard this advice when I was listening to a podcast with Jay Shetty and Mel Givens. And Mel Givens said, never leave the bathroom without giving the human being you're looking at in the mirror a high five.
Is she the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 lady?
Yes.
I've watched a lot of her trainings and it's very effective. One of my life coaches I had a while ago made us do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed, and it does actually work. Yeah. So yes, I just thought I'd ask the question. And what is the worst advice you have ever heard, Sandee?
Smile and everything will be okay.
Very true. Yes.
It helps temporarily, but I lived my life like that for many years after my brother died, and that was the only tool, was smile and it'll be okay.
And it doesn't seem very helpful when someone says that to you. You're like, oh, thank you for that. Sandee, I have thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you today. Thank you so much for coming on to the Brilliance Business TV show.
Thank you. It has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so much. The pleasure's all mine. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Today, we have been in conversation with Sandee Sgarlata. We have shared so many pearls of wisdom to overcome stress, using gratitude, using forgiveness, exercise. We have really shared lots of wisdom in how we can all overcome our stresses and have a little bit more happiness in our lives. Thank you everyone for watching. Until next time, bye for now.